Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to be actually hanging our shop doors. At least I'm hoping to. I only have a few hours to work today, but I think I have everything set up. I have all the trim done. I have some pilot holes set up for our hinges, so I think we're good to go. We just need to lift it up there and get it bolted in. If you haven't been following along with the series, we are building two swinging doors that will be our instead of overhead doors for a shop, it's going to be swing doors. They are going to be 14 foot tall and about 7 feet wide, so we have a 14 by 14 opening, so we can get big rigs in like our bus and our backhoe, because that arm up there is over 12 feet for sure. So we didn't have a whole lot of clearance, so we needed to do the swing doors, and yeah, I kind of went over that in the first video. I encourage you to check that out if you haven't seen that already. So the first door we're installing it'll be I'm going to call it the left shop door, if you're looking at it from the outside. I pre-drilled pilot holes for my modified hinges. So I have one hinge that has, or one hole in the hinge that has a slot, so I can adjust how the door is going to sit in the frame with a slot at the top one and at the bottom. So my plan is I need to lower this onto the ground with a sling. That way I can tip it up. Sawhorses are definitely not rated for tipping this heavy door up while they're supporting the door. So we'll lift it up, set it on the ground. I'll put some plywood underneath the corner here. That way when I'm lifting the door up, I'm not going to be damaging my trim. I had to install this trim on the door because it's basically behind the hinges. At the top of the door, I mounted with a structural screw a strap. And on the inside of the shop here at the top, I also have the other end of the strap there. My plan with that is as soon as I get the bottom hinge bolted with that one bolt, I can hook up the strap and pull the top one up to line it up with my bolt holes up top, and then we can bolt that one in. Then we can adjust the door in and out accordingly. So it's kind of what I have planned here. Let's see if it works. I forgot I want to put a protector on the back side of that top trim piece. Also, I didn't balance it very well. Yeah, I don't have exactly what I'd like for my rigging here, but we'll make do. A lot of my rigging is up with our telehandler, which is not home yet. Okay, I think I have it how I want it. It's very unconventional, but I need to be able to twist this too. I don't want to get too bound up. That is hanging about perfectly the way I want it to, so I can get it hooked up. If anything, it's tipped too far in at the top, but we'll make that work. Now I just need to get it close to the door jamb here. So this will be what I'm going to put on the hinge at the bottom. It's going to be pulled out again, and then I'll take the washers off, but that'll give me enough support. So this will put some sideways force on the door, trying to close it, but at least I will be able to suck that hinge a little bit tighter so it's more close to where I need it to be for the alignment. Okay, the door is fairly plumb and level, but my problem is that I want to have it up just a bit higher. I only have a 1/2 inch of clearance on the bottom. I'd like that to be 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to loosen up my hinges, and hopefully I can lift the door up, set it at the top height of that hinge, and then I can put some more lags in. Unfortunately, the door is too heavy just for those 2 lags to hold it, or those 2 hinges even. It was moving on me and twisting and warping, so I will need to get all the hinges installed before I can take the blocking out from underneath the door. Okay, I am happy with how it's sitting, so I am going to put the rest of the lags in those 2 hinges and that one up top. Then I'll probably take the backhoe off. I just don't like having it up there more than I need it. Yeah, and then we'll see how it closes. Okay, the door is free. Okay, time to see how it hangs freely now. Hopefully it closes. It'd be a bummer if it hit somewhere. Oh, it's tight at the top. That's one thing I didn't think about. It hits the soffit, but I wasn't planning on having to go open all the way. But yeah, it hits on the soffit up there. I think I'm probably going to add a couple more hinges, one at the top there, or at least one or two at the top, because when the door is closed or wherever it's hanging, this one's normally in compression, but those hinges are in tension, so they are doing more work up there. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see. Let me close the door and I can show you it from the outside. It moved very easily too. Actually better than I thought for just having those standard hinges. So that looks a little bit different now. So cool. Yeah, I don't like how it's up at the top corner there. It's touching pretty much. Honestly, that's better than drooping, because as the door ages, it'll droop down a little bit. At the top here, my gap is pretty much uniform all the way across, which is a good thing. So I was pretty nervous on how I was going to set this up and how it was going to hang. I've learned a few things. One, with the rigging I had set up, I couldn't lock the backhoe arm up, so it's had just a little bit of settling. Second was that my plan to do the hinges with just doing 2 hinges, get the door supported only with those, and then put the rest in afterwards didn't really work. I basically had to shim the door up so that it was stable and sitting where it needed to be. My concrete on the ground here was not meant for a door opening, so it is too far in, so the door is gonna overlap the gravel just a little bit right now. Eventually I want to cut a 1 foot back into this doorway, make a nice lip and apron and taper so that we don't have water run into the shop ever. But for this year, it's going to have to work. Yeah, I think I need to do some more reinforcement on the hinges, add a few more hinges to the door. They're very easy to add. I just need lag bolts for them, so I'm going to go grab some more hinges. I am going to get this one completely secured. I'm going to get the last hinge lagged in place. That was another bad thing that I did. Forgot to make sure all the hinges were folded the right way before I slid the door in and bolted it up. So the bottom hinge here is on the wrong side of the opening. So I have to pull that hinge off and then bolt it back on. But yeah, I think it's going to work. So here's that hinge that's on the wrong side. So we'll swap that over quick. I think I've broken my impact finally after, 4 years of use. I don't think these legs are the greatest for it, but my chuck doesn't hold anything anymore. Okay, now I just need to get my holes drilled and lag the other side in. There we go. All the hinges are done. I'm going to get these extra blocks off and it should start looking like a finished door here. Okay, off camera I got all set up to get the next door lifted. I think this one will go smoother because I know what I'm doing now. What we're going to do is we're going to lift it up with the front end of the backhoe, bring it over and set it kind of where we had the other door. Maybe just a little bit. Well, it'll work as long as it's close to that. Then we'll reset with the backhoe, we'll chain it up and pick it up, and then we'll set it in place like we did last time. But I am just going to start with shimming it right away underneath. Also, to protect the bus, I used all of our extension ladders and set them up against the side of the bus. That way, if the door were to tip over, the load would probably be distributed between the ladders, and it kind of at least would protect the bus a little bit more. I'd rather break a ladder than break a window out of the bus or something like that. So, I think we're ready to go. I'm going to fire up the backhoe. Okay, my method for training this thing up isn't orthodox. Yeah, it's a very weird case that I'm doing here. I want to have this, normally I chain to this, but I don't want to have the chains flip off and go to the sides because I'm going to have this curled up for height. So I'm going up through the quick coupler actually, and then around and then into the clevis that way. It's very not normal, but it works. Okay, I was able to lock out the boom portion of the backhoe, so that won't settle anymore. So it's settling enough that I had to really be paying attention. Okay, we're lined up perfectly now. Okay, top is pretty much where it needs to go. I think it's even at the right height. Very close. We'll get the bottom hinge locked into place, then we'll level out the door. Level that way. Perfectly level this way. I'm gonna call that good. I guess the last thing I need to check is the clearance between the sill here and the door. So, something straight like that. We'll add 1.5 inches. So we're at 2.5. I was wanting 1 inch, so that's perfect. Yeah, so I'm gonna get these holes drilled. We'll put some more lag bolts in, and hopefully we have this door in the right spot. I almost lost this end of the clevis on the other side of the door, which there's a whole bunch of glass windows over there, so that would have been bad.
Looks great, honey.
Thanks. We'll see if it closes. It will once I get my little shims out of here.
Looks really nice.
Something's binding up on this side though.
Your gap at the top is smaller than your gap at the bottom.
Yeah, by quite a bit. So when we close the door right now, this bolt head is hitting first instead of, yeah, and it just has to do with how the door is constructed. So I think what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna pull this washer off, see if that's enough. If not, then we can just grind down an 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch, or no, 1/8 inch or 1/16 of an inch on this, the head of this bolt. Yeah, I need to do a little bit of grinding. So now we're hitting on the next one up here. We're going to pull that washer out. So I've been watching the gap at the top here in my little stop piece, and it goes against the stop with just a little bit of force. So I'm thinking that when I put the tensioner that runs from the top to the bottom, that I'll be able to get rid of that interference. But it's going to work. So I'm going to do some cleanup, and then we'll start putting tin on the doors.